Hello everyone, and welcome back to your daily English dose. Today we are going to read a very interesting story. It's about something many of us love, Halloween candy. But this year, you might have noticed something different. The candy is more expensive, and maybe less chocolatey. Why is this happening? This story is perfect for practicing your English listening and reading skills. It connects our daily life to big global topics, like the weather and business. Don't worry if you hear some new words. We will stop and explain the most important ones. Let's find out why our Halloween treats are changing. Part 1. The empty candy bag. A Halloween reality. Imagine walking into a supermarket in October. You see the bright, colorful candy aisle ready for Halloween. It should be a familiar sight, but something feels wrong. The prices on the candy bags are surprisingly high, and the selection is different. Chocolate, which used to be the king of Halloween, seems to be sharing its space with gummies, fruit-flavored candies, and chewy treats. This is not just a feeling. The data shows it is real. According to Finance Buzz, the average price for a bag of 100 Halloween candies soared 78% between 2020 and 2025. This increase is much faster than general inflation. It suggests that something special is happening to candy. This high price is changing how people shop. A new survey found that more than half of Americans, 57%, are actively cutting back on their Halloween candy spending because of high chocolate prices. Shoppers are looking for sales, buying less, and choosing non-chocolate options. But it's not just the price. The chocolate itself seems different. The bags are smaller. New products have labels like white creme or chocolatey flavor. This brings us to the central question. Why is this happening? The change in the candy aisle is not a small seasonal event. It is a sign of a deep, structural crisis in the world's food supply. The price of one bag of candy shows us the impact of climate change in West Africa, the complex commodity market, and the new strategies of big companies. Part 2. The bitter roots. Inside the global cocoa crisis. To find the root of the problem, we must travel to West Africa. This region, especially Ivory Coast and Ghana, produces more than 60% of the world's cocoa. The unprecedented price increase is not because of one single reason. It is the result of three terrible challenges happening at the same time. Challenge number 1. Climate chaos. First, climate change is destroying the delicate conditions needed to grow cocoa. Cocoa trees can only grow well in a narrow range of stable temperatures and with consistent rain. But in recent years, West Africa has experienced extreme and unpredictable weather. In 2023, unusually heavy rains caused the spread of black pod disease, which makes the cocoa pods rot. Then, in 2024, a severe drought and heat waves hit the region. This stopped the crops from growing and stressed the trees. Science supports this. A study by World Weather Attribution, or WWA, concluded that the 2024 heat wave was 10 times more likely to happen because of human-caused climate change. The temperatures are often above 32 degrees Celsius, which is too hot for cocoa trees. Challenge number 2. Aging farms. Second, it's not just the weather. The farms themselves are struggling. Many cocoa trees in West Africa are over 25 years old. They are past their peak time for producing cocoa, so they naturally produce fewer beans. The unstable weather also creates perfect conditions for diseases to spread, like the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease, or CSSVD. This disease is devastating and hits the harvest hard. Furthermore, decades of farming without enough investment have degraded the soil. This means the soil is less healthy. This reduces productivity and makes the trees even more vulnerable to climate change. Challenge number 3. The human cost and the vicious cycle. Third, there is the human side. Even though global cocoa prices are at record highs, the farmers themselves are stuck in poverty. They receive only a very small part of the final value of a chocolate bar. In countries like Ivory Coast and Ghana, government pricing systems have historically stopped farmers from earning more when international prices go up. This poverty is the heart of the crisis. Farmers cannot afford to invest in new, climate-resistant trees, fertilizer, or pest control systems. This leads to lower harvests, which makes their poverty worse and makes the farms degrade even more. This is a vicious cycle, and it makes the entire supply chain weak. The market impact. These factors together have caused a historic supply shock. Cocoa prices, which were stable at around $2.5 per ton for many years, jumped by more than 4 times. They passed $7,000, then $10,000, and hit a peak of over $12,000 per ton. The International Cocoa Organization reported a massive supply shortage of over 370,000 tons in 2024 alone. This is not just a temporary bad year for cocoa. This is a systemic failure. It is a feedback loop where climate change, low investment, and farmer poverty make each other worse. This structural crisis cannot be solved by one good rain. Part 3. A Tale of Two Commodities. The Sweet Paradox of Sugar. While the cocoa market is in chaos, the story for another key candy ingredient, sugar, is the complete opposite. Global sugar prices have been falling for 5 months in a row as of July 2025. Why is there so much sugar? Good weather in major sugar-producing areas. Unlike West Africa, Brazil's production is stable. India is expecting a huge harvest thanks to a strong monsoon. Production in Thailand is also expected to rise. This means there will be a global surplus of sugar. This strong contrast, expensive cocoa and cheap sugar, is the main economic reason why candy is getting less chocolatey. For manufacturers, there is a powerful financial incentive to change their recipes. They must use less of the extremely expensive ingredient, cocoa, and use more of the cheap ingredient, sugar, and other fillers. Part 4. The Candy Maker's Gamble. Raise, shrink, and replace. Facing the bitter cost of cocoa and the sweet opportunity of cheap sugar, the world's biggest candy makers like Hershey, Mars, Nestle, and Mondelez are using 3 main strategies to protect their profits. Strategy 1. The price reality. Price hikes. The most direct response is to raise prices. Hershey announced a low double-digit price increase in the fall of 2025, saying it was because of the unprecedented cocoa costs, and Hershey is not alone. The Swiss chocolatier Lindt raised its prices by 15.8% in the first half of 2025. Nestle and Mars also admitted to raising prices to offset the cost of ingredients. Company CEOs are warning investors that high cocoa costs will put significant pressure on profits in 2025. Strategy 2. The trick of shrinkflation. Next, manufacturers are using a tactic known as shrinkflation. This is when they reduce the size or quantity of a product while keeping the retail price the same. Here are some examples. The party-size bag of Reese's miniatures shrank from 40 ounces to 35.6 ounces. A bag of M&Ms shrank from 42 ounces to 38 ounces. Consumers are noticing this. A study from Purdue University found that 3 out of 4 shoppers have noticed shrinkflation, especially with snack foods. This tactic is widely seen as deceptive and unfair. Many consumers say they would prefer an honest price increase instead. Strategy 3. The trick of skimpflation. The third and most clever strategy is skimpflation. This is the less chocolatey phenomenon itself. It means to reformulate, or change, the recipe of a product to reduce the amount of the most expensive ingredient, cocoa. There are many examples. Companies add more non-cocoa fillers, like nuts or caramel. Products like Reese's White Ghost or Kit Kat White are no longer made with real white chocolate. They are made with white creme or chocolatey flavor because they do not contain enough cocoa to meet the legal definition of chocolate. Special Halloween flavors like Kit Kat Ghost Toast cinnamon flavor or Witch's Brew marshmallow flavor are designed to use less cocoa. And in mixed candy bags, the percentage of non-chocolate items, like sweet tarts and gummies, is increasing. Research shows that consumers feel skimpflation is even more unfair than shrinkflation. A smaller bar is still the same bar, but a product with lower quality is a different, worse product. It feels like a betrayal of trust in the brand. These 3 strategies, raising prices, shrinkflation, and skimpflation, show the extreme pressure the industry is facing. Part 5. A View from Japan. A local taste of a global problem. Japan has a huge and growing Halloween market. But the global cocoa crisis is hitting Japanese companies hard too. Meiji Holdings stated that cocoa raw material costs added 5 billion yen in costs in just the first quarter. Morinaga and Latte have also been forced to raise prices many times. Latte announced a major price change for 128 products, including chocolate, with increases from 4.5% up to 47.2%. Data from 2024 shows how Japanese consumers are adapting. Sales of Latte's classic Halloween Choco Pie fell. However, sales of Meiji's Halloween assortment pack of Kinoko no Yama and Takenoko no Sato jumped by over 22%. This data shows a cultural adaptation. As prices for standard chocolate go up, consumers may be shifting their interest. The success of the Meiji pack suggests that consumers might prioritize novelty, the fun of sharing, and the playful Kinoko-Takenoko debate over a pure chocolate experience. This shows a shift in values in the Japanese market. Part 6. The Future of Flavor, Reinventing Chocolate. The cocoa crisis of 2024 and 2025 is not just a challenge. It is a powerful catalyst for innovation. The extreme prices and unstable supply are forcing the industry to find long-term solutions. This is pushing the industry down 3 different and fascinating paths. Path 1. Replication. Cocoa-free chocolate. A group of food tech startups is developing alternatives that copy the taste, texture, and melting feel of real chocolate, but without using any cocoa beans. Planet A Foods in Germany uses fermented and roasted oats and sunflower seeds to create a product called Choviva. It is already being used in products sold at supermarkets like Aldi. Voyage Foods in the US makes a replacement from grape seeds, sunflower protein, and shea butter. They have a large sales partnership with the food giant Cargill. And WNWN in the UK uses fermented carob and barley to recreate the chocolate experience. These companies claim their products are more sustainable, more ethical, no child labor problems, and offer a stable price. Path 2. Recreation. The lab-grown revolution. A more futuristic approach is cellular agriculture. Scientists take cells from high-quality cocoa beans and grow them in a nutrient-rich liquid inside a bioreactor. This grows pure cocoa mass and cocoa butter without a tree. California Cultured is producing cocoa this way and has a contract to supply the Japanese candy maker Meiji. Celeste Bio in Israel is using a similar process and has received investment from Mondelez, the parent company of Cadbury. This method promises a product that is genetically identical to real chocolate, but is completely separate from the risks of climate change, pests, deforestation, and labor problems. However, it faces big challenges: high production costs, getting approval from regulators, and consumer acceptance of lab-grown food. Path 3. Reformation, fixing the source. This path does not try to replace cocoa. It focuses on fixing the existing farming system to make it stronger and more sustainable. This includes developing new types of cocoa trees that are more resistant to drought, heat, and disease. It also includes promoting agroforestry. This is a farming method where cocoa is grown under other trees. This helps control the temperature, improves soil moisture, and increases biodiversity. Another focus is improving pollination. Research shows that poor pollination limits cocoa harvests. Sustainable farming practices, like leaving fallen leaves on the ground, can increase the tiny insects that pollinate cocoa, which can improve harvests by up to 20%. Large programs, like the EU's Sustainable Cocoa Initiative, are working with governments in West Africa to improve farmer income, stop child labor, and introduce tracking systems. Conclusion: redefining the treat. Our journey from the Halloween candy aisle to the struggling farms of West Africa and to the high-tech labs of the future shows us one thing: the changes we see are not a temporary problem. They are the direct result of an unsustainable global system that has finally reached its limit. For decades, a bar of chocolate was an affordable, simple treat. The crisis of 2025 forces us to rethink that definition. Will the treat of the future be a product of expensive but truly sustainable farming? Or will it be a triumph of food technology, born in a lab, that just tastes like chocolate? The answer is being written right now, and it will redefine not just our candy, but our relationship with the food we love. Thank you for listening and reading along with us today. This was a complex topic, but it's a great way to learn new vocabulary and understand how the world works. Did any of the new words like shrinkflation or skimpflation surprise you? What was the most shocking fact you learned today? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this practice helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to your daily English dose. We will be back soon with another great story to help you improve your English. See you next time!